Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another week of the Weird Astrology of 2021. We're gonna get into the report, but before I do that, I personally need to vent about my chart and my own life as it is. So if you don't want to hear that, I'm gonna put a timestamp so you can just skip right to the report. Um, yeah, just having a really difficult time, and I don't really know. It's kind of painful, to know precisely kind of what's going on with you or with yourself, and like I don't know, just like having not being able to express that in any really satisfactory way. So I've got the moon in 15 degrees of Capricorn, um, in the fourth house, making no aspects. Um, The ruler of the house, Jupiter, is also making no aspects, even though he's in Sag. And in the fourth house, I also have Neptune, Uranus, right? So my moon is like between, it's not quite an enclosure, but it's like pretty much enclosed between my Mars at 11 Libra and Neptune at like 21 Capricorn. And like, every time I have a bad aspect to the moon, it is very distressing for me because it feels like it unearths my very like most like fundamental sense of security, and it has always been very distressing for me. In 2015, when Pluto was at 15 degrees, my life, like my whole foundation of my life, completely dissolved, and that it was very distressing. I've pretty much never been able to hold down a housing situation. It always falls apart somehow. At some point, it just disappears, and I don't know. I've just really never like felt very secure my whole life, and don't we all? But I mean, I don't know. I feel like I really like that area of my life is especially um, perilous for me because I just don't feel like I have any support there. It's a really deep feeling of insecurity. When Pluto went over my moon in 2015, I didn't know astrology then, but it really felt like everything I had like fundamentally was like being stripped away from me, and like I was just in complete full survival mode. Very scary. I learned a few good things to come out of that, like Pluto over the moon. Like I learned a contemplative discipline, and I learned a form of Tai Chi, um, which was very helpful for me at the time to kind of like have some outlet to like form my life around something that I could form my life around. But having afflictions to the fourth house like that has always created problems with my parents, who, blessed. I really do pray for them, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's always been like they do not like they do not see me and my brother for the people that we are. They've only ever seen us as the people they imagined we would be or we should be, and they get really mad when like those illusions are dispelled because they're not real. Yeah. So Mars, like right now, Mars is the Time Lord, um, and it's very frustrating because the Sun is my 12th house ruler, and to have my 12th house ruler on that for so long, I haven't been able to sleep properly um, since those two planets were co-president. Um, so yeah, I'm very frustrated, and it really makes me feel like there's no way out. Like that's like the persistent feeling I get when I have situations like this. That there's like no way out except for everything to be destroyed and for me to just walk away somehow. You know, and it makes me, I feel like I have a lot of sympathy for homeless people, even though I've never really been properly homeless, I guess. Um, you know, like I've known a lot of homeless people. I find them more relatable than most people. Um, but you know how homeless people, or not homeless people, here's a quite somewhat a different example. Like there's people that only feel safe in prison, and they once they get out, they do not find America to be very inviting to them. So they will commit a crime to go back to prison, just because that's where they feel like they can survive. And I find that very relatable. I will never do that because I know that God will carry me through this situation like He has every other time this has come up, where I just have to believe that somehow it's going to work out. I guess I'll share this. I've never been clinically diagnosed because I've always been afraid of that affecting my ability to get a job in the system. While I still I guess I was still trying to go for that. I was really trying to go for that before 2015. I almost became a computer engineer until I saw how bleak that was, and just insane that people slave their lives away like that for so little, such a meager false sense of security. I forgot what I was saying. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, I never been clinically diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but it definitely runs in my family. And if you get clinically diagnosed, then like that really affects your ability to get a high paying job, or a, so to speak, high paying job. So I've never gone through with it, but and I don't trust doctors, and I don't trust psychiatrists. I think they're all full of shit. I think they're just like the people you went to high school with. They were dullards, complete dullards, and they don't get anything. They don't have any compassion. They're just there for a paycheck, like anyone else. So I never found like going to a psychologist to be very helpful either. But man, like it really sucks. I mean, it's good. It can be good. At least it seems like it can be good to be really high and like I don't know, seeming extra motivated. But I mean, I don't know. I think when I'm like that, I'm burning on all cylinders, like maybe like 150%, right? Like overcompensating. But when I get depressed, like if you've never been depressed, it's like for me, it's like you know, um, it's kind of like the all the lights go out and like everything around you is like 100 feet away from you, and it's just you in the middle of it. Then everything kind of like dims, becomes not really recognizable in the same way. It's really weird, but it's very hard to function. Like it's like you're functioning on like 10%, which in this, I don't know, it's just really not possible in America to be like that. I don't think. So these problems have come up at the same time for me, where I don't, it can come up in either way. Like I recognize that, oh shit, I'm gonna be not functional. Like I cannot hold down an apartment. I cannot be around these people in other instances. Or like I'll be in a housing situation and people will just like torment me. Like doing why aren't you doing better? It's like I can't. Well, I don't really feel better after saying all that, but I don't know. I had to have some sense of expressing it to somebody. So, fuck. I don't know if this video is going to see the light of day. But I don't know, if you're out there feeling the same way, or similarly, you just, I don't know what to tell you other than you have to just believe that it's going to work out somehow. No one moment is unbearable, and most of these problems are in your head, right? Like I will rapid cycle between extreme depression and feeling pretty normal, honestly. Like in a day, it's really weird, and then I don't know, it can really go any way for me. It's really really weird. I don't know what it is. Um, at any time, it's very frustrating. If like your ability to function can just disappear at any moment, or just come back, or be dysfunctional in a totally different way, like by being way too confident or exuberant. But it's mostly in your head, and that can be very frustrating. Like being painfully aware that like everything is in your chemistry and in your brain, the way that you perceive the world, and I don't know. Like I guess I'm like angry at my parents, but because like I don't feel like they've really perceived like my situation. Because I mean everybody's in their own illusion. They mostly don't see each other unless you're built like that, I guess. And my parents aren't. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I just want to, if you're still listening to this, and you relate to what I'm saying, it only happens for a time, and it's mostly not in your control. So, you just have to find a way to make today all right. And you can do that. I've been a stoner, I guess. I hate that word. I've used cannabis my whole life, probably since I was like 13, 14, to pretty much the time I got depressed. I don't think that's the cause of it, but oh man, if it was, that'd be really sad. But to cope with life, you have to find a way, and you will. And that's the thing, is that you are very hard to kill. You don't know how strong you really are deep down until you've been pressed like that. And I think that is a good thing that can happen from, um, maybe not being depressed specifically, but like being put in a situation where like it's life or death, or it seems like you're fighting for your life. Is that if you actually ever get pressed that far, there's something deep in you that will make you survive. You know, and I think that's somehow that's comforting to me. I don't know if it is to you, but like you're never like totally lost as long as you can keep going for one thing, and I don't know, being like put in a survival situation and being depressed are very similar, but they're not the same. Because I mean, being depressed will make you feel like you can't survive another minute. But there is something deep in you that survives, that pushes you on to see another day. And times change. As astrologers, we can recognize that times are transient, and the times are evil as well, for the most part. Everything happens because of God. I've been wondering about. Well, we're not going to get into that now. I'll save that from when I'm in a better frame of mind. So I don't know. I want to thank God, who gives wisdom and understanding and strength that we can look into these mysteries to the glory of His name.